solution ever have a good money again before we take orders and ends of government.
Yo, today is October 31st, 2022. Happy Halloween. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, and memetic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Today we have a very special show. Google basically admitting that they're going to accept Bitcoin for payments for certain services of theirs. We're going to make the case why this, once again, is market forces doing what market forces always do best. They basically force the hands of other players. We saw something very similar with BlackRock allowing or giving access to their institutional investors to Bitcoin. We know that Larry Fink is not a fan of Bitcoin, but why are they doing this? Because they don't want to lose market share. So once again, Bitcoin's incentives are winning, and that's why Bitcoin's going to win at the end of the day. But before we start the show, I want to give a very special shout out to the always optimistic, my legendary co-host, my living truth. How you doing, Optimus Fields?
What's up, Nico? What's up, world? Happy White Paper Day. Happy Halloween. It's good to be here. I'm wearing my Halloween costume because we are soldiers for Satoshi, and we are in this information war right now, and this is why we show up every single day to spread the signal, ensure that people understand that Bitcoin is the solution. So, I'm happy to be here. As me and Nico have been saying for a while, man, we are just blessed to be able to make Bitcoin content every single day as our career. So this is awesome. And then, of course, today's daily culture, it is White Paper Day, as I said. So we're going to cover, the white paper, and it's the 14th anniversary since it's released. So we gotta, I know there's new people in the fold, so we're gonna, talk about why it's so important. I'll read a little bit of the abstract and read the original email. So, we're just doing the things over here, doing Bitcoin things.
All right, guys, let's start the show. Let's do this. Here we go.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse, because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. All right, guys, so we're going to get into the details of White Paper Day during the culture segment. Don't worry. But for the numbers, we're going to read this legendary email. That's what we had planned today. Let's check this out. This email that started the revolution. It was a simple email that started it all. A simple piece of text. Happy 14th birthday to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still a teenager. It's so young, but look at how much it's changed your lives. Look how much it's changed our lives. It's already the legal tender of a nation state, actually two nation states, the Central African Republic and El Salvador. Public companies are holding it on its balance sheet. I'm talking about MicroStrategy. I'm talking about Tesla. I'm talking about Square. So it's so young. It hasn't been around for not that long, and look at how far it's come. This is just the very beginning. And why is that? It's because of Bitcoin's incentives, and it's because of Bitcoin's absolute scarcity. And as a species, as humanity, we still don't understand what the consequences are of something that has absolute scarcity. But the fact that it came from zero to an all-time high of 69,000 and less than 49 years, that percentage return is absurd, and no other company or institution has ever been able to match something like that. So this is just the beginning. And this revolution is going to change everything. The fact that you can store millions, billions, and trillions of dollars in your mind by memorizing a simple seed phrase, 12, 24 words, and that allows you to go anywhere to where you're treated best, and also allows you to transact with anybody freely, fundamentally changes the relationship between individuals and the collective. When I mean collective, I mean governments, I mean the mob, etc., etc. So, anyways, I'm going to read this. Like I said, it's very, very consequential. It's dated Satoshi Nakamoto, Friday, October, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in 2008. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this was released on the heels of the 2008-2009 financial crisis. So he goes on to say, I've been working on a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party. That's the key word there. The paper is available at www.bitcoin.org/bitcoin.pdf. The main properties: double spending is prevented with a peer-to-peer network, no mint or trusted parties, participants can be anonymous, new coins are made from Hashcash style proof of works. Shout out Adam Back. The proof of work for new coin generation also powers the network to prevent double spending. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic system. Abstract, a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without the burdens of going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted party is still required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution to the double spending problem from using a peer-to-peer network. The network timestamp transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The long chain not only serves as proof of the sequence of events witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. As long as honest nodes control the most CPU power on the network, they can generate the longest chain and outpace any attackers. The network itself requires minimal structure. Messages are broadcasted on a best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. Full paper, bitcoin.org/bitcoin.pdf, Satoshi Nakamoto. Absolutely historic email. The email, the revolution that started it all. And there's a lot of sauce in that. There's a lot of things that he said that were so true. It's he designed this to be attacked. He said it right there, right? And in terms of doubling down, tripling down on this idea that it's peer-to-peer, that there's no required intermediary. And I think that's what a lot of you guys have to internalize when you start to see more and more and more of this attacks and this rhetoric from the Treasury and central banks. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin disintermediated them. It took the reason as to why they exist, it takes it away. Intermediaries are no longer necessary. And what they're trying to do, and they're going to try to use coercion to do this, and all the official stamps and the emblems and the suits, is that they're going to try to justify their existence. And a good analogy for this is back in the day, they used to make propaganda as to why electricity wasn't necessary, as to why the horse and buggy will remain the most popular form of transportation rather than the car, right? This is what happens when radical innovation, gets introduced into a society. The difference here, the fundamental difference though, guys, is that this is a fundamental change because it is the separation of money and state, and the state gets a tremendous amount of power, not only having the monopoly on the issuance of money, but also having control on the intermediaries in the first place. Basically, that allows them to get to dictate who is allowed to use money and who is not allowed to use money. So don't get distracted by the noise. Don't get distracted by the social attacks. Remember why we are here. We are fighting because we fundamentally believe that no human being, no government, no anybody should have the ability to create money for free that everybody else has to work for. Also, second thing, no group of elite bureaucratic politicians in Washington, D.C. should have the power to pick and choose who is entitled to use money and who is not entitled to use money. And this is why we are all here. This is what it's all about. Happy 14th birthday to the thing that fundamentally changed my life forever. I know it's changed Opti's life, and I know it's changed a lot of your guys' lives as well. happy 14th birthday to the Honey Badger Bitcoin.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely amazing that 14 years ago an email was dropped that changed the world forever. And, you know, just shouts out to Satoshi. If you're still alive out there, I know you're listening to Simply Bitcoin, and we just hope that that we continue to stay on the mission. And this is why we're going to cover it again on the culture, because I fundamentally think that sometimes we need to rehash things and reread the white paper here and there so that we know why we're doing what we're doing. But hey, Nico did the great synopsis of what's going on here. And man, it's just really amazing that one paper can change the world like this. And we're only 14 years into this experiment, and we've gone from 0 to 20K and even farther, and we will continue to go to the moon from here on out. So this is why we do what we do. We are separating money from state. And this paper is just a testament to why we do everything that we do. And it doesn't even cover the whole vast majority, the vast ecosystem that is Bitcoin. So it's awesome to celebrate this day with you guys, you know, being a Bitcoin content creator. It's just an epic day. This is why we're going to go so heavy on the white paper today.
No, it's good. It's good we have to cover this historic document. A lot of people get lost in the sauce. They get distracted and they forget why we're really here, what Bitcoin actually does, what Bitcoin facilitates, and what tools Bitcoin gives the individual. Before Bitcoin, those tools never existed before. And I think it's important to cover that, especially on this very special day, Halloween, and also Bitcoin's birthday. But anyways, before we do that, let's get to the news.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today.
All right, everybody. So here's the big news today. Google partners with Coinbase to accept Bitcoin and shitcoin payments for cloud services. Now, really interesting. Why would they allow this? And again, I'm going to make the case. I believe it is market forces. So let's check it out. Google has announced that it will partner with Coinbase to drive Web3 innovation. Now, Web3 is a red herring. It is centralized. There is no innovation in Web3, and I'm going to get into the details as to why that is in a little bit, including the use of crypto exchange to accept Bitcoin and shitcoin payments for cloud services. So that's the signal right there, right? Is that Google Cloud is now accepting payment services in Bitcoin. And now, if more and more tech companies continue to accept payments in Bitcoin, we know Microsoft is one of them as well. This is the game changer, right? Because it gets people to start asking questions. What is money? Why am I being forced to use the dollar? Why am I being forced to use the euro? Now, of course, you know, Google down on being able to accept payment services in other shit coins like Ethereum and Doge. But I believe market forces at the end of the day are going to pick the winner, right? And the winner, in my belief, is the cryptocurrency that is decentralized, because it's the only cryptocurrency that is going to be able to withstand government coercion, the ability to resist the government's ability to co-opt it, right? We know that, for example, the majority of Ethereum nodes and validators are already sanctioning for the Office of Foreign Asset Control. We've shown you the receipts many times on this show. Anyways, the announcement was made during Google's Cloud Next conference on Tuesday. According to a CNBC report, users will be able to pay for services using Bitcoin and shitcoins from early 2003, and I believe more companies will follow. Now, here's a little bit of signal, and I thought this was absolutely hilarious. This could explain why Google is offering the people's ability to pay for their cloud services in Bitcoin and shitcoins. Why is that? Market forces. The same reason as to why Robinhood, PayPal, right, all started selling Bitcoin on their platforms. Why? Because they saw the success of Cash App and they said, hey, in order to maintain our market share, we must offer these Bitcoin and shitcoins, even though They probably didn't like them. And what's really interesting is the latest move by Cash App. Cash App offered or enabled Lightning payments for 40 million of its users. And what's really interesting about that is that defeats a lot of the shitcoin narratives, right? We know that Lightning is faster, it's quicker, right? And it's built on the most secure chain. Right. So I'm a big believer in market incentives, and I think this is what market incentives and market forces are doing in this case. So check out the headline of this article. Google cites Bitcoin shitcoin winter as a factor in its Q2 revenue decline. During the latest earnings call from Alphabet, the parent company of Google cited the pullback in the crypto market as an influencing factor in the decreasing advertising revenues from Q2 2022. The company released its earnings report for Q3 on October 25th, which detailed the 6% increase in revenue totaling 69 billion as compared to Q3 of 2021. The figure was down slightly from its Q2 2022 revenue of 69.7 billion, while the revenue from its Google service divisions, which include advertising earnings, showed an increase of 58.8 billion to 61.3 billion over the past year. The company noted that the Q2 revenue was down quarter on quarter and attributed to weakness in advertising spending coming from the financial and cryptocurrency sectors. We did see a pullback in spending by some advertisers in certain areas in search ads, according to Phil Schrinzer, the chief business officer of Google, who spoke during Alphabet's earnings call. For example, in financial services, we saw a pullback in insurance, loan, mortgage, and crypto subcategories. So why is that interesting? Because think about it. The industry is getting to such a size that now, depending on the current state of the Bitcoin and shitcoin market, it's now having a major influence on these giant corporations, right? This is the size of the industry. This is where it's getting. And this is just with Bitcoin sitting at 300 billion market cap. Imagine when Bitcoin hits the market cap of gold, the influence that it's going to have on these public companies worldwide. This is just the beginning. This is just the rumblings. But if you guys were to take away some signal from today, first of all, market forces. First, Google, one of the largest tech companies, to offer the ability for clients to pay for their cloud services and Bitcoin and shitcoins. And number two is that the Bitcoin market cap has reached such a size, right, that depending on the current state of the market, it is now affecting other companies, other industries that are completely separate to what Bitcoin is, right? Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts? And then we're going to get into just debunking the whole Web3 narrative.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I was just going to start. Web3 is trash, but we'll save that for the for the back end. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Google bending the knee to market forces, and we say this all the time, that Bitcoin's incentives just stay winning, and everyone will bend the knee to Bitcoin eventually. What's the meme? People will get in Bitcoin at the price that they deserve, and I think we have seen this bear market, like the infrastructure, the amount of attention on Bitcoin, it's definitely hit an all-time high. And like you said, man, the fact that Google made this announcement blaming the bear market for the revenue downturn, like that's a new FUD line we haven't had yet. So we are definitely in the mainstream consciousness, and everyone is bending the knee to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is forcing the narratives. Like they wouldn't be talking about a lot of these narratives right now in response to cryptocurrencies and the like the CBDC announcement. They wouldn't be talking about Bitcoin or these things if it wasn't for Bitcoin. But on another note, the shitcoins in this announcement are kind of a stain on this whole thing. But hey, we understand what's going on in the market forces, and Bitcoin is just forcing their hand. And so everyone will bend the knee to Bitcoin eventually. And again, just my thinking is like, I just can't wait till the bull begins his run again, because the infrastructure being built out, the attention that's been on Bitcoin, all the media FUD against Bitcoin, it does seem like it's hitting all-time high. And it kind of reminds me of that clip that we put out of Tone Vays, where he said this might be the worst bear market yet because of all the attention, because so many people are in the Bitcoin industry, and like you said, it's affecting so many areas of our world right now, of our planet right now. And it's like, Bitcoin is eating everything, and Bitcoin is that void and the black hole that all value will go to. And so it's just beautiful to see this happening in real time. And it's just honestly also hilarious that they're blaming the Bitcoin downturn for the fact that their revenue's down. To me, the irony isn't lost on me, because they talk so much smack about Bitcoin, and now they're blaming us for them just not making as much money. It's you know, Bitcoin just stays winning, and we can't ever not be in the news. It's just bullish.
Absolutely. And I just want to, pull to, because they mentioned, or Google mentioned, Web3 when they were making announcements that they're going to accept payments. Web3 was part of the reasoning behind that. And Jack Dorsey is the ex-CEO of Twitter. He quit Twitter to work on Bitcoin full time, explains why Web3 is a red herring, right? He says, you don't own Web3, the VCs and their LPs do. It will never escape their incentives. It's ultimately a centralized entity with a different label. Know what you're getting into. And that led him to release the Web 5. Remember, guys, at the end of the day, if it's not decentralized, it will be co-opted by powerful parties. But remember, the fundamental difference in Bitcoin, and this is what makes it so unique, and nothing ever existed like it in history, right? If I'm holding 0.01 Bitcoin and Michael Saylor is holding 130,000 Bitcoin, Michael Saylor does not have more influence over the Bitcoin network. That's fundamentally different than Ethereum. And that's how all these Web3 projects work. They're really actually run by the developers. If it's not truly decentralized and only Bitcoin is, then it will be co-opted either by governments, or either by powerful corporations, or either by the people themselves that invented those Web3 companies. Remember, this is why the fork wars were so important. It was the most powerful mining conglomerates in Bitcoin tried to change the code to benefit themselves, which would have led to more centralization, because they would have raised the node requirement to run. They would have raised it higher, meaning less people would have been able to afford to run nodes, right? So again, if it's not decentralized, it's a distraction. If we want to separate money from state truly, it needs to have true decentralization. That needs to be feature number one. And that feature Ethereum sacrificed in order to add all the other BS, which they never bring up. The fact that the Ethereum community has not brought up the fact that the majority of Ethereum validators are actively censoring for the Office of Foreign Asset Control, a branch of the US government. The fact that they're quiet about that tells you everything they need to know. Guy Swan said it best. Shitcoiners don't care shooting Bitcoin in the back if it means they get their Lambos. So you have to decide what side you are on, Anon, what side you are on as an individual. Do you really want to be on the side that wants to separate money from state, therefore the ability to end these endless wars, these crazy government programs, this crazy tyrannical behavior by governments? Or do you want to continue living in the world that we've been living in for the last 100, 200, thousands of years, where an elite few get to dictate the lives of everybody else? Anyways, moving on to this last piece, and I thought it was newsworthy. This happened, it was like a week ago, and we slightly covered it. We said that a 998 of 999 multi-sig basically almost broke Lightning. We skimmed over, but we never got into the details, and I think it's important to get into the details. So anyways, check it out. It says, learning from the LND bug that could have robbed the Lightning Network. On 2022, Barack from BitMatrix created and broadcasted a transaction to the main Bitcoin network, spending a UTXO with a transcript multisig with a 998 of 999 threshold. This transaction had 998 individual signatures in the witness field and was almost 0.1 megabytes inside. Kind of hilariously reused the exact same public key for every one of the 999 participants in the multisig. The transaction caused a massive disruption of the Lightning Network by exposing a bug in LND and BTCD. Why did this affect LND, given that many people run Bitcoin Core underneath their LND instance? It is because LND uses the same code BTCD does to receive and process blocks. So even your LND node was running on top of the Bitcoin Core, which have properly validated the relevant block and not stalled, your LND instance would have refused to accept that block and stalled, even though your main chain node continued progressing properly. Thankfully, this issue was not widely exploited, but had this been discovered in the code base before Burak's transaction was pushed to the blockchain, this could have been intentionally exploited by bad actors in a very tactical way. An individual or a group of people could have easily opened a large number of channels on the network and swapped all that money in those channels back to themselves on-chain through a submarine swap, leaving all the funds in the channel on the other side, and then submitted a large taproot transaction like Burak did, immediately closing out their channels using an outdated state. I hope this is a wake-up to how important it is to ensure that consensus validation checks are all in sync with each other across all software in this space, as without that synchronicity between everything, there isn't actually a singular coherent Bitcoin network. And look, this is why we say all the time, Bitcoin, a Lightning Network, reckless, man. Lightning Network, the reality is, in its current state, it's still in the experimental phase. It's getting there. We've made a tremendous amount of progress. There's an amazing amount of Lightning Network companies that are constantly innovating, constantly trying to improve the thing, improve the user experience. I'm a big fan of the Moon wallet, just because it's like you can send a Bitcoin transaction, you can send a Lightning transaction. It all hides it on the back end. The user interface is clean. It's easy to use. I use it as my, like, it's like having money in a wallet, you know, a couple $100, whatever, you know, if you lose it, no big deal. But that you still have to remember, you know, where the state of the Lightning Network is, and that it's vulnerable to these types of issues. Now, the signal there, though, is that there was no vulnerability on the main chain, and that's what's important. But holy crap, man, that bug could have been bad, man, for the whole thing. What are your thoughts, Opti?
Well, first off, I want to kind of touch on the Web3 stuff. Guys, Web3 is just like the latest buzzword, like blockchain, ICO, DeFi smart contracts. Like, if you aren't aware of this, then, you know, there's some research you need to do, but just don't fall for the Web3 scam narratives that's going out there. As Jack Dorsey himself said, you know, like, it's just backed by VCs so that they can line their pockets. Anyways, moving on to the LND stuff. Like you said, man, Lightning is the quintessential move fast and break things. It's reckless out there, and it's crazy, you know, because I've been on Lightning since like 2018, and it does still seem like it's like newborn tech, but it's been around for four years now or whatever, and it's like, it's crazy that there's still bugs out there. But I think, just to be clear, you know, like, the Lightning Network at large didn't break, just LND nodes and that implementation of Lightning was basically broken for a little bit, but they got a quick bug. And I think this is just a testament to all the developers out there that were quick to catch this. Unfortunately, that bug did go through without anyone noticing. So, you know, who knows what else is out there. But I think this is just like a call to action for anyone out there that is also a developer, especially if you're a shitcoin quote unquote developer. Come work on Lightning. Let's like actually build out a real payments network so that we can actually get the whole world using Bitcoin and actually change the world like we say we are doing, or at least better yet, like you shitcoiners are say you are doing in shitcoin land. But I mean, pretty crazy stuff. You know, hey, experimenting on Lightning and breaking things, crazy stuff. It was that was a crazy day. Everyone was freaking out.
Who the fuck? Okay, I'm sorry to curse, guys. 998 out of 999 multisig. Who the hell does that? Right? But but again, bless their heart, because that was the only way, doing some absurd, you know, transaction like that, to discover this type of bug, man. But like, that's just really funny. Anyways, I have a message from Yellow.
Don't stop believing. Hodl to that feeling.
That's right, guys. Don't stop believing. Hodl to that feeling. Let's get to the culture. Let's do this.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, guys, I want to give a special shout out to the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, Pacific Bitcoin, November 10th through the 11th, Los Angeles, California. It's coming up. 9 days, 21 hours, 12 minutes, and 42 seconds until Pacific Bitcoin. Guys, you're not going to want to miss this celebration. But Chad Saylor's going to be there, Corey Clipson, Lynn Alden, Jeff Booth, Parker Lewis, Dr. Jeff Ross, Nico, and Opti are going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin from the Swan Dome at the Pacific Bitcoin Conference. It's going to be awesome. You could take advantage of the promo code all caps Simply to get a major discount on your Pacific Bitcoin tickets. Guys, the conference isn't big enough for it to lose that homey feel, but it's also not small either. So a lot of these people, you're going to be able, a lot of your favorite Bitcoiners, you're going to be able to approach, have conversations with them. And also, if you want to be able to get a job in the industry itself, conferences are one of the best places to go to. So you don't want to miss this conference, Pacific Bitcoin. It's in 9 days or less. Opti, what do you have? Is this the original post?
Yep, we got the original post. I'm not going to read the whole thing because Nico kind of covered it, but on Friday, October 31st at 2:10 Eastern Time in 2008, Satoshi dropped the Bitcoin email on the cryptography list, and he, did the abstract and dropped the white paper. And again, guys, it's the 14th anniversary since this was dropped. So I think it's fitting for us to cover this stuff. I try to cover the white paper as much as possible on this show because it's very, very interesting and crazy to me how many people haven't read the paper themselves or, haven't done the deep dive search. So I'm just going to read, the abstract a little bit. I have some parts highlighted. I have covered this in the past, but again, I think it's a testament to the importance of reading the white paper and try to understand everything that's going on in the white paper and why we do what we do and why this is such an important monumental date for everyone out there. Of course, again, this is just when you drop the white paper. This is not when the actual Bitcoin software was released, but we got to remember that before Satoshi even dropped the white paper, he basically had the software almost completely figured out. So it wasn't like he, did this in a short time span and then released the Bitcoin network to the, the internet. I forget what the quote actually is, but Satoshi said himself, he's like, before I even had the white paper out, before I released this to the world, I had to make sure that I solved the problem, and then the white paper was released. So this paper wasn't just written, and then he had to go tinker and figure it out. He had essentially most of the network already figured out by this time. But anyways, let's get into some of this, guys. Again, Bitcoin is peer-to-peer, and as you can see, the title is Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And I think it's very important that we don't negate the idea of system. I know a lot of people on the internet like to call Bitcoin a peer-to-peer electronic cash, but there's a very important word about using a peer-to-peer electronic cash system because Bitcoin is software. It's simply, a messaging app that we are able to communicate value over, but it's a system, a software that is a money network. It's the best ledger in the world. So anyways, abstract, a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. And we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. Guys, there's so much sauce in just those sentences themselves. First one, guys. Electronic cash that would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial system. While Gold can be considered a sound money itself. You cannot send gold over the internet. And this is one of the fundamental utilities of Bitcoin, is being able to send sound money over the internet in 10-minute settlement. And this is something that is a 10x or 100x improvement on gold, and why we believe that Bitcoin is the best money. I know I just said it's a software, but it is used as money, and it is the best way to interact in the digital world. It's digital money for the online world that we live in. But furthermore, you do not need to trust anyone. And as we try to cover all the time, the main problem in the world right now is all the trust that we've allowed these financial institutions, whether you have to trust your bank, whether you have to trust politicians not to inflate your money. The fundamental thing that Satoshi fixed is the trust layer, because the powers that be, the bureaucrats out there, the central bankers, they have abused our trust for hundreds of years. And Satoshi took that power back simply by releasing the Bitcoin network. We no longer have to trust these institutions as a middleman to ensure that they are not messing with the money. Now we have an algorithm. As I like to say in the past, Satoshi domesticated greed via an algorithm. No longer do we have to trust humans to not fiddle with the money. This is what this white paper fundamentally showed the world, that look, I designed a system that has taken humans out of the equation, because as we've known historically, as you can read history for yourself, anytime there's humans between you and your money, they will find a way to debase it and steal from you. And this is just human psychology. If you have the power, with absolute power comes absolute responsibility. Well, Satoshi took that power away from humans, and now we no longer have to trust humans with our money. We have a software that ensures there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And again, I'm not going to go fully into the white paper, but the introduction. Commerce on the internet has come to rely heavily on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weakness of the trust-based model. And without the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads, and merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. And these cost and payment uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currency, but no mechanism exists to make payments over a communication channel without a trusted party. So what is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse or protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transaction. Guys, this introduction, if you don't understand everything that's saying, I highly recommend that you deep dive this, but I will do my best to try to break this down for you guys. And as we said, commerce on the internet relies almost exclusively on a trusted middleman. There's, whether it's Visa, whether it's MasterCard or PayPal or Zelle or, whatever these payment apps that we use nowadays, you have to trust the person in the middle. And as we've shown for a while on the show, it's becoming very obvious that these people are not to be trusted. Not only they're trying to put a new system on top of it, a CBDC system where they can control everything, and it's a wholesale throughout society. We already see that these institutions right now are censoring people. Yeah, they're pushing people off the network. If you don't have the right thing, they can cut you off from society. But now we have Bitcoin, and we no longer need to trust these people. We no longer need them in the middle of our money. I can transact with whoever I want in the world if I want to. And this is the beauty of Bitcoin. Not only that, but I no longer have to be debased. I no longer have to deal with the status quo, as we've been talking lately about having to be forced to use a money that steals from you, because now I can use the internet to interact with anyone around the world as long as they have a Bitcoin wallet. And as we said, we like Moon. I just downloaded Phoenix on iOS. I'm a huge fan of Blue Wallet, or you can use Bitcoin Core if you want, or Sparrow on your desktop. Like, you do not need to trust these institutions. You do not need to go go to big tech and ask, big tech and big daddy government to, hey, please, sir, can I use your app so that I can transact with people? It's like, no, download a Bitcoin wallet and transact with whoever you want. It's a communications network. It's software. No one can stop software. This is a freedom of speech, First Amendment issue here.
100%.
Money is speech, and I can transact with whoever I want, whenever I want. There's no holidays on Bitcoin. There's no weekends off like your bank. Bitcoin is up 24/7, 365 days,
and it doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what your skin color is, where you happen to be born in, and all the other systems do in one way or the other. Someone, Liam Crypto, said you got to change your name to Liam Bitcoin, bro. Number one, but number two said talk about PayPal. The PayPal example is great, man. Look. They snuck back in the language into their terms of service, basically saying, yes, we will fine you if you say certain types of misinformation, which we are the ones who decide what that misinformation is or not. Also, the example of Kanye. Yes, Kanye did say some very anti-Semitic stuff that we fundamentally do not agree with on this show. However, man, that is very scary that people are getting deplatformed for their language. And that's a very, very scary, scary world. And if you differentiate that with how Bitcoin functions, right? Look, the reality is Bitcoin is the money of enemies, meaning you have to be okay with someone that you fundamentally do not agree with using the Bitcoin network. Is that system perfect? Are there going to be pros and cons to that system? Yes. Are there going to be pros and cons to the centralized system? Yes. But I fundamentally believe that the world would be a much, much better place in an open monetary network world than a world where a few bureaucratic elite, banker elite are getting to pick and choose who is entitled to use money and who is not entitled to use money. And you as an individual have to make the decision, what world do you want to live in and what world do you want your children and your ancestors and your children's children to live in? Opti?
Couldn't agree more, Nico. Couldn't agree more. And I just want to cover this last sentence here because I think this is an important thing that a lot of people don't even understand what Bitcoin is solving. And he goes, in this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server. So first and foremost, guys, the double spending problem, it's an economic problem where if I send something on the internet, how do I know that I am not sending that thing again and trying to defraud someone by using some funny money? Well, this is what Bitcoin solves. I send my Bitcoin across the world. Well, if Bitcoin didn't work how it worked, then I'd have to trust someone in the middle to ensure that I wasn't using that same, that same dollar, that same UTXO to try to spend and use it somewhere else a second time. This is the double spending problem, guys. And again, the next point, I know you've heard the saying, oh, Bitcoin is the blockchain this, but I love the narrative on Twitter about people trying to change the meme from blockchain to time chain because Satoshi said it himself, using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. This is what the blockchain is doing. It is a time chain. It is ensuring that it's putting all the ducks in the row, as he said, a timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. This is what Bitcoin miners are doing. They're basically auditors out there that are ensuring the transactions are going in sequential order.
No. And hold on a second. It's the nodes that have the copies.
Agree. Okay.
Of the nodes are the ones that have the copy, which is, by the way, why you guys should run your own node. Miners are no more than paid security guards, right? They're all guessing really fast at the same time. And if for someone to rewrite that chain, right, they have to match the computational power of the current hash rate, which continues to go exponentially higher. Now, to go back to that part where he said, a timestamp server, right? That you could also equate that to your own copy of a blockchain. If you don't run your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting, to use Satoshi's words, someone else's copy of a timestamp server. Minimize that trust. Have your own copy of the Bitcoin blockchain that's constantly being updated as your server or as your node, as your Bitcoin node is connected to the internet. Minimize that trust. The more trust you minimize, the more personal responsibility you take back into your hands, the more financial sovereignty you take back into your hands. And a lot of the world's problems today is because a lot of people are outsourcing personal responsibility. Either that is the quest of information or that is the personal responsibility of the storage of their wealth. And both those institutions, whether they're the legacy mainstream media or whether they're banks and governments, have completely broken that trust. There is no need to trust them anymore. That's what the internet has enabled us to do, has enabled us to completely circumvent the gatekeepers of information, talk with millions of people directly, peer-to-peer, and now Bitcoin has now given us the ability to transact peer-to-peer directly with those individuals. Those intermediaries of information and those intermediaries of money are no longer necessary. They have broken the system. They have abused the system. And what you're going to see over the next 5-10 years is they're going to justify their existence. In terms of misinformation, they say only the experts are the fact checkers. Only the experts are the ones that are going to give you the right information. And in terms of money, you're going to hear things like, oh, unhosted wallet, hosted wallet. It's not real money. It can't be real money because it's not backed by a government. Well, fuck you and your government money, because your government money fundamentally fucking steals from me and Bitcoin does not. Your government money wants to tell me who I am allowed to transact with, who I'm not allowed to transact with, and Bitcoin does not. So shove your fucking government money where the sun doesn't shine, because I don't want it. And I want you guys to wake up to this reality. The power is now in your hands, and you've never had this type of power before, but only if you take Bitcoin into self-custody and ideally run your own goddamn Bitcoin node, because if not, you're trusting someone else's. Opti.
Let's go. Perfect segue in, because I wanted to show the Genesis block, guys. I know today is the white paper day, but remember what was encoded in the Genesis block. The Times 03, January 2009, Chancellor on the brink of second bailouts for banks. And this is what Nico just ranted about. We no longer have to trust these banks to not debase our currency. Satoshi took that power away from these people. And the only way that we can ensure that is by you guys running nodes, by you guys taking Bitcoin into self-custody. This is the revolution. We tell you guys all the time, self-custody is the revolution. You got to use Bitcoin properly. You need to use a Bitcoin wallet. You don't use an exchange for your wallet. You know, we've been talking about Moon. We've been talking about Wallet of Satoshi, Breeze, Bitcoin Core, Sparrow, Spectre, Cold Card, Bitbox, Seed Signer. These are the tools you need to be using. You know, maybe think about using multi-sig setup. But I really like this tweet by the Libertarian Party, and it goes, the Federal Reserve is why your dollars are sinking in value every day. And for 14 years, Bitcoin has helped us fight back. And just to jump on that, I said this morning, 14 years ago today, Satoshi Nakamoto released a Bitcoin white paper, and the world changed forever, guys. We are no longer going back to this system where you have to trust these middlemen to not debase our currency. We've taken that out of their hands. We have taken away the power of the money printer, and we're just here to try to spread that signal as much as possible so that people learn that the tools are here and that we no longer have to play this game anymore. And as we dropped this morning, shouts out to Base Money Tech. I'm shilling your article, bro, because we are fundamentally fixing the base layer. And that, as he said, the base layer is the faith layer. And you guys can read into it. But essentially what he's saying, guys, is they have broken the trust on the base layer. And now we are fixing this, guys. And again, we don't like to speculate, but Number has been going up since its inceptions, and number will continue to go up. This is just a bear market, guys. Do not fall for the FUD. Bitcoin works properly. Bitcoin is still going to all-time high in blocks. Bitcoin has been running the uptime is 99.99%, and it will continue to stay up because Bitcoin is here for the future. Bitcoin is for the children, and I'm just happy to be a Bitcoiner, man. This has been a awesome 14-year run. I've only been here for 5 years of that time, but I am just excited to see this project, this experiment on monetary properties play out for the next 1,400 years if possible, guys. We are here for the long run. Lower your time preference. Bitcoin is changing the world. And all you have to do is take your Bitcoin into self-custody, shitpost with your friends, and spread the sound money gospel to everyone that will listen. Because this is all we have to do, guys. We just have to show people that the Bitcoin network is here and they have the tools. Provide the value to your fellow man. Provide your services for Bitcoin. And just make sure your meat sack makes it over the finish line, guys. Stay humble, stack sats.
Amen.
And the future will be bright orange for all of us, for everyone from here on out.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Happy birthday, Bitcoin. You've changed my life. You've changed the lives of millions. And now you're giving this world hope, because this world has been in nihilism and darkness. And that is caused by the broken money that is constantly stealing from everybody, and governments are blaming the other political party inside, and they're not taking responsibility for something they have caused in the first place. Enough is enough. Now we have a tool to opt out, take our energy, our power, our time back into our own hands, and there's nothing they could do about it. But that doesn't mean they're not going to try. That doesn't mean they're not going to blame Bitcoin. They're not going to blame. They're going to say, hey, you're going to enable terrorism. You're going to enable all of these things. They're going to throw all these buzzwords. If you don't use a hosted wallet, if you don't use a KYC wallet, the world's going to burn down. It's the Bitcoin miners are going to boil the oceans. It's all bullshit. They're scared because they can no longer control you. They can no longer control information. That's what the internet did, and now they can no longer control you through money. Opti calls them high-level parasites. I call them monetary demons. We are winning, and there's nothing they can do about it. Take back your financial sovereignty, guys. Run your own Bitcoin node. But let's get to the meme review. Let's do it.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io.
Let's go, boys and girls. So, as you guys know, tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery in this information war. You guys are the frontline soldiers. We need to ensure that the world knows that Bitcoin fixes the problem, fix the money, fix the world. This is why we do what we do. On this 14th anniversary of the white paper, we need to, I'm not going to say we anymore. I'm trying to not say we anymore, but ensure that you are spreading the signal. Have you orange pilled someone today? If not, make sure you spread that signal somewhere out there on this happy Halloween. And this first one is by Coin Corner Molly, and I really loved it. It's, it's on brand. It's Halloween, and she goes, "Happy Halloween, hashtag Bitcoin." And I really like her pumpkin. It is vomiting its insides for fiat. Absolutely beautiful. I wish I was this creative with my pumpkin carving. So shouts out to you, Molly. This next one is by Rope. And I honestly thought we were going to cover this. Maybe we'll cover this tomorrow in the numbers segment. There's a video out there of Chrissy Lagarde saying that she doesn't know where inflation comes from.
We're going to play that tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to cover it for you guys tomorrow. And he goes, some NPCs, and he goes, the inflation came out of nowhere. And then we got just like, she should put some laser eyes on here. It's like, major central banks have printed $25 trillion since 2008. The NPC registers, and it gets mad. They do not want you to know the true reason for inflation, but we know the true reason for inflation. And I have the next meme. I thought I had it in order, but apparently I unordered them. Anyways, this next one is by @meming_Bitcoin, and I absolutely love this meme right here. It goes, how the media describes Bitcoin users, and it looks like a shadowy, dark Bitcoin coder. And it goes, actual Bitcoin users, and it's just, you know, I don't know what they call like a dorky dinosaur holding Bitcoin. Yeah, that plays out. That plays out. Anyways, this next one by Lena Sishay. She's absolutely killing it with these little hodler comic book memes. And she goes, it just came from nowhere. Again, referencing the Christine Lagarde video that we'll cover tomorrow. And it's the politicians, central bankers, and their ilk. It's got the ECB right here, and it's just printing money. And they're just printing so much money that they are overflowed with dollars, and inflation is skyrocketing. And then the politicians and the bureaucrats and the bankers ask, how'd this get here? Pretty sure it was already like that before. It just came out of nowhere. It's probably Russia's fault. No, the real reason for inflation is that they continue to spend more money that they have because the money printer continues to burr, and they are debasing the currency. This is where inflation comes from. And this next one by the BTC therapist, and he goes, thank you, Satoshi. And it's the classic urinal meme where there's a bunch of open urinals and we got a Chad Bitcoiner walking into the urinal. And instead of peeing on all these other urinals, he goes right next to it and he goes, you know what day it is? It's the 14th anniversary of the Bitcoin white paper. You guys better be orange pilling someone like this today. It's an important holiday. This next one is by @BoldBitcoin. And again, this is touching on the idea of where inflation really comes from. And it goes, #Bitcoin is the solution. And we got the symptoms over here on the left side. And it goes, grocery prices rising. Gas prices were supposed to drop. They just keep rising. Inflation, rising energy prices could squeeze U.S. families. House prices at 7 times average income as supply dwindles further. And then it goes, the root cause, and it is the Federal Reserve System or central banks at large, and the solution is Bitcoin, guys. This is what we try to tell everyone consistently, that the solution is Bitcoin. We know what the problem is. It is the fact that the government will continue to spend more money than they have by creating the new money, you know, paper Ponzi that we like to call it. And again, on this meme of Christine Lagarde saying, we don't know where inflation came from. It's got all these central bankers, you know, and it's the classic like Rothschild meme where they're laughing. And this is by RDBTC, and he goes, inflation, central bankers. And then we told them that inflation came out of nowhere. The real signal in this meme is the fact that people are biting this nonsense hook, line, and sinker, that we don't know where inflation comes from, that inflation is transitory, that we don't know the root cause of inflation. But as all you Austrian economists know out there, the root cause of inflation is the fact that they keep expanding the money supply. They will continue to use money printer go burr for as long as people trust in the system. But as we are elaborating on this show today, it's been 14 years since the white paper came out, and we no longer have to trust these people to not debase our currency. Bitcoin has algorithmically ensured that human greed can be checked. 21 million hard cap. This is the way, guys. And it's only been 14 years into this experiment. The only thing gold has on us is its time. It's time in the market. But Bitcoin is proven every day, every 10-minute block, that Bitcoin is the best way to save your money. Bitcoin is the best way to hold your value. And now in a digital world, we can continue to transact with whoever we want over the internet without a third party in the middle. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely honored to be here on this day. And for my meme review score, guys, I am going to give my army jacket because we are in a monetary war. We are in an information war. And as I like to say, we are in a disinformation war, and you guys are the frontline soldiers. So for today, for this Halloween, I am a soldier of Satoshi. I am a warrior in this World War III that is an information war, and we are on the front lines. Glad to have you guys all in my trenches. We will continue to give you guys a signal because the powers that be are going to continue to try to ensure that they kill this beautiful thing known as Bitcoin. So for my meme review score is as it says in the chat, Opti's militant Bitcoin soldier Halloween costume.
Boom. I'm going to give it this yellow. Oh, that's matching in. Oh, okay. It's green screen Xbox controller.
Invisible Xbox controller.
Because I broke my old one. Because they don't last very long. Because fiat breaks everything. Bad quality. Anyways, guys, this is Simply Bitcoin Live. It's not about our scores. It's about your scores. So rate the score, rate the memes in the chat. Make Opti and I feel uncomfortable while we read them out.
There's one of these scores is really good. All right, here we go. The first
Let's
one.
start popping them up. Brandon says, I give those memes some freshly minted whole coiners during the 2022 bear market.
Perfect.
Very nice. Next one by Global Nonsense. I give those memes a Twitter HQ run by a team of failed shitcoiner. Very nice. Very nice. Michael Morrison, that's specifically a chemical warfare protection MOPP gear jacket. Oh, now thank you, Michael.
Now we know.
Michael knows. Michael knows.
I thought it was Desert Storm, but hey, what
Next
do I know?
one by Rope. Ooh, Opti knows. Rope. Rating those memes, Opti's leaky kitchen ceiling.
Can confirm. Confirm.
Is that why? Okay. Next one, we got the John Flood. I'm going to give a UK Saber rattle. Very, very nice. Okay. Leroy Euphrates score a de-googled phone running Graphene OS. Next one. Mikulu says score the entire Bitcoin white paper. Very nice. I give those memes.
You need horns.
I give those memes my 1972 Farrah Fawcett poster.
Farrah Fawcett poster. If you know, you know.
Oh, Opti knows.
Of course I know Farrah Fawcett. Come on, man.
Opti's militant Bitcoiners score Halloween costume. Score number 1, special orange pilling session by Rope sharing the same urinal as the normie. Oh, Jesus. All right. Z-Logic, I give them memes the Lugano drone Bitcoin aerial light show. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Next one. All right. We're running out of time. I give those memes a kilogram of vitamin C, a couple seconds until the buzzer. Frank Arc, I give the meme an inflation RKO out of nowhere. We're out of time. Thank you for coming to Simply Bitcoin's Meme Review Live. Come back tomorrow so you could give us memes to review live. Speaking of memes to review live, you have to join Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. That's how you link us Bitcoin memes to review. You got to go to www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. It's absolutely free. You can link us Bitcoin memes to review. There's over 600 toxic Bitcoin maxis in there, dropping the sauce 24/7. Also, check out Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. You got to go to www.simplybitcoin.new. This is the written version of this show. Shout out to our awesome writers, Rustin, Zach, Paul, Weinicus, dropping the sauce all the time. It's freaking awesome. Pure signal. Anyways, guys, that was our show. Opti, why don't you tell everybody where to find the audio version of this show?
Of course. Guys, check us out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and we are on Fountain. I do have one comment over here from Fountain that we got over the weekend. Let me get this for you guys. Can you see that, Nico?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let me zoom in. Shouts out to @Jaff2100, and he goes, thanks a lot for your advice. Those people working in Visa try to survive, but game over for them. Let's go. And shouts out to everyone sending us sats. We got, Clark, Ian, Rag3AF, Cos, Peelan, Steez, Origines, Terla, user 61777, and I, Satoshi, with you. So I'll figure out exactly how to get this to work like BTC Sessions has. But in the meantime, I will just do screenshots and give your guys' comment on the show. So shouts out to you guys. We appreciate all the sats from the value for value economy. We love Fountain, and man, I'm just blessed to be here. Super excited. And man, I'm just honored, Nico, that we could be here on this 14th anniversary of the Bitcoin white paper and give you guys the signal.
Hell yeah. Speaking of signal, you got to get yourself some militant merch like the decentralized corpse like the Opti is wearing, or this militant camo represent hoodie only on representltd.com. He's making Simply Bitcoin merch. He's making Bitcoin merch. Check out the Peaceful Revolution merch as well. only on representltd.com, and you can take advantage of the promo code simply-bitcoin to get 10% off anything on the store. Anyways, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, we really appreciate it if you smash that like button. You consider subscribing if you think this content provides you value. The number one thing you could do to push this peaceful Bitcoin revolution forward is share this video. Share it. That's what YouTube likes the most. You have normie friends, NPCs that haven't woken up to the truth about what's going on. The money is stealing from them. Share this video. In fact, share Bitcoin content from all the Bitcoin content creators. Get the truth out there. More people taking self-custody. That's how we win this revolution. All right, love you all. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin.